Welcome to your reality therapy session. New Year celebrations. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. New Year's. New. We celebrate New Year's every year. Where did New Year's originate? I have a master's in marriage and family therapy, bachelor's in psychology, associates in psychology. I've been doing counseling work for well over 10 years. I work with cases of all types of trauma and stress, including racial stress, racial trauma. Some of the most hardest cases to work with being that there is not really a solution to systemic racism. I mean, we all have ideas, but there's not a cure I can provide in the counseling space for my clients who are suffering from these challenges. And it hurts my heart because I'm not going to be the therapist to say your racial experiences are all in your head. Systemic inequality and oppression is a very real thing. It's documented. There's a lot of research on this. But why is racism so resistant to New Year celebration? We say Happy New Year's every year. I'll be 40 this year. I've seen at least 40 New Year's celebrations. But could that also be interpreted as an insult to individuals who struggle with systemic or inequality issues that it almost feels like it's a merry-go-round? It's rehearsed, cyclical, it's repeating. It's like a pattern that just keeps going and going and going, which we all know theoretically race is a economic construct. There is no sort of scientific basis on this. This is what makes you this race, and this is what makes you this race, based on your the scientific, biological data here. This is what makes you more of a black person. But why does it seem like the more things change, the more things stay the same? What's new? There's a lot of new technology with the advance of AI and the internet and new clothes, new fashion, new cars, new relationships, new meals, new foods. You can cook chicken this way. You can make this that way. It seems like what's really new, it's really up to the definition of the individual, which is fair. But why is racism so resistant to New Year's? If we're all as a collective group acknowledging this is a new chapter, a new beginning, a fresh start, are we sort of aligned with these unspoken agreements that, yeah, some things are going to be new, but niggas, you guys will still be some niggas for the new year. All right. You guys stay in your place now. Don't get too new on us. All right. New Year celebrations did not originate as a modern self-improvement ritual. They emerged as state, agricultural, and religious instruments of social order. The earliest recorded New Year celebration dates back over 4,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia, particularly the Babylonian Akitu festival around 2000 BCE. This was not a casual celebration. It was a 12-day political religious ceremony tied to the spring equinox, crop cycles, and the reaffirmation of the king's divine authority. During Akitu, social roles were symbolically reset. Debts were forgiven selectively, and loyalty to the existing hierarchy was ritually renewed. Historians note that these festivals helped stabilize society after hardship by redirecting collective attention toward cosmic order rather than social inequity. The new year functioned less as personal renewal and more as systemic reassurance that existing order was sanctioned by the gods. This is from Asman, Cultural Memory and Early Civilization, Potato, Religion in Ancient Mesopotamia. The concept evolved through the Roman political engineering. In 46 BCE, Julius Caesar formalized January 1st as the new year within the Julian calendar, dedicating it to Janus, or Janus, I might be butchering that, I have to look at how to pronounce that, the god of beginnings, gates, and transitions. Janus looked both backward and forward, symbolically powerful but politically useful. By anchoring time itself to imperial authority, Rome could unify vast populations under a shared temporal narrative while distracting from widening class divides, slavery, and territorial violence. Sociologists of time note that calendars are never neutral. They are tools of governance that regulate behavior, labor cycles, and social expectations. By emphasizing renewal and forward motion, the calendar subtly discouraged dwelling on unresolved injustice. As historian Eviatar Zerubbabel notes, temporal rituals help societies forget on schedule. From a critical and spiritual perspective, New Year celebrations can function as a psychological displacement mechanism, a socially sanctioned pause that offers emotional relief without structural reckoning. Modern research in social psychology shows that ritualized optimism can reduce cognitive dissonance by creating the feeling of change without requiring actual redistribution of power or accountability. K et al. 2009, System Justification Theory is the resource. Celebration becomes a pressure valve. People experience hope, unity, and reset while systems beneath remain untouched. Spiritually, this mirrors a long standing pattern: confusion through spectacle, where symbolic renewal replaces repentance and optimism substitutes for justice. When societies celebrate newness, quote unquote, without truth telling or repair, the ritual unintentionally protects the very systems it claims to transcend. The calendar moves forward, but the hierarchy remains intact, unchallenged, unnamed, and comfortably hidden beneath the noise of celebration. Sometimes it's hard to celebrate New Year's when you have just real experiences of racism and discrimination that have it can be traumatizing to your nervous system, to your psychology, to your social functioning. As a therapist, I see a lot of this in my cases, in my work, and it's some of the most challenging cases because there's no tool or intervention, or not even really a lot of literature in the psychology research on how to heal victims or people who've experienced systemic discrimination, racism, inequality to the degree where maybe they've lost family members, maybe they've lost homes, they've lost businesses. There's really nothing in the textbooks for a lot of counselors who are working with these populations. Happy New Year, Happy New Year can almost be like a insult in some ways because the very same people who are behind some of these issues and concerns, you're gonna say Happy New Year, man. It's a good New Year. Yeah, what you gonna do? What you gonna change your donut? You gonna eat a bagel this year? What you gonna, you're not wearing those New Balances. You're gonna wear some Nikes. It could just for people who are thinkers, right? It's kind of like, what the fuck is this about? What are we doing? Every January 1st, American society collectively performs a ritual of renewal. We speak of fresh starts, right? New chapters, and leaving the past behind. The gyms are filled up, planners start to sell out, social feeds overflow with declarations of change. Time itself is framed as redemptive, as if the calendar turning has the power to just cleanse history. Yet beneath this annual celebration of newness, something profoundly old remains intact. The structures, assumptions, and hierarchies that shaped yesterday quietly cross the threshold into the new year, unchallenged and largely unnamed. This contradiction raises an uncomfortable question. How can a year be new if the social imagination is not? If racism, whether white, Hispanic, African American, or otherwise, continues to shape access, outcomes, and identity, what exactly are we renewing? Systems do not reset because the date changes. Power does not dissolve because a slogan says, New Year, New Me. And identity extremism does not soften simply because the nation toasts to progress. What we witness instead is a form of collective dissonance. Public narratives celebrate diversity, inclusion, and advancement, while lived realities remain stubbornly consistent. And really, what it does too is just kind of reinforces to those who are on the higher end of the hierarchy and who maintain that authority and that control over these systems is, yeah, it's going to be another year where you guys are going to keep your fucking mouth shut. All right? Yeah, celebrate New Year. Yeah, look at everything else. All right? Yeah, celebrate that. Oh, you changed your Nikes to New Balance is cool. Stay there. Collective dissonance. Public narratives celebrate diversity, inclusion, and advancement, while lived realities remain stubbornly consistent. Media showcases symbolic victories, representation milestones, and carefully curated stories of progress, while the deeper architecture of inequality remains largely untouched. This gap between image and experience breeds confusion, exhaustion, and moral fatigue, especially for those who live at the intersection of promise and betrayal. Spiritually, this confusion is not neutral. Confusion has always been a strategy, one that thrives when contradiction is normalized and hypocrisy goes unnamed. When progress is loudly proclaimed but rarely embodied, people begin to doubt their own perceptions. Resistance loses clarity. Fatigue replaces fire. The enemy does not need to preserve overt hatred if subtle hierarchy will suffice. Silence, mystification, and delay become more effective than open hostility. Thus, racism survives not because time moves too slowly, but because human beings keep agreeing, often unconsciously, to structures they perceive as permanent. Each new year becomes less a rupture with the past and more a rebranding of it. What follows are 20 ways this agreement quietly renews itself every January. So it's not really anything new, it's a rebranding. It's like a repackaging of what we know has already continued to cross the threshold. Human beings are really tricky. I'm going through the scriptures and don't get it twisted. We're still going to talk about this identity extremist issue. And human beings are really good at hiding what they know. And there's levels to what you know. And let's talk a little bit about this. 20 ways racism quietly renews itself every new year. One, hierarchy is treated as natural rather than constructed. Research in social dominance theory shows that humans often accept hierarchical arrangement as this is the way things are, especially when those arrangements appear stable over time. When inequality feels permanent, it becomes invisible. People stop questioning the ladder itself and instead focus on climbing within it. Each new year, individuals adjust goals without questioning the structure that limits them. What hierarchies do you accept as inevitable simply because they've always existed? Two, progress is measured symbolically instead of structurally. Studies on symbolic inclusion demonstrate that representation without redistribution often pacifies resistance while leaving systems unchanged. Seeing faces change does not mean power has. When media celebrates visibility as victory, deeper inequities remain untouched. What changes are being celebrated and what changes are being avoided? Three, racism shifts from overt to polite. Modern racism research highlights the rise of aversive racism, where prejudice is expressed through avoidance, coded language, and institutional norms rather than open hostility. Each year, racism becomes quieter, not weaker. What discomfort do you avoid labeling because it no longer looks like hatred? Four, discomfort is framed as the real problem. Psychological research shows that dominant groups often interpret discomfort during equity discussions as harm. This reframing recenters those least affected by injustice. When emotional ease becomes the priority, truth becomes delayed. Whose comfort dictates the pace of change in your world? Five, time is used as a substitute for accountability. Sociological studies reveal that institutions often promise future reform to avoid present action. Give it time. Give it some time on this. We'll get to this. We have that on the calendar. Put that on the schedule. It becomes a moral escape hatch. Every new year resets patience without resolving the harm. How often does time replace responsibility in your thinking? Six, racism is individualized instead of systemic. Research consistently shows that focusing solely on personal bias obscures structural mechanisms like housing, education, and wealth gaps. Each year, people commit to being better individuals without challenging systems. What systems benefit from your focus staying personal? Seven, language becomes sanitized. Critical discourse analysis shows how neutral language, for example, at risk, undeserved, removes agency and obscures causality. When words soften reality, urgency dissolves. What truths are being muted by polite language? Eight, exhaustion is mistaken for resolution. Activism research documents burnout as a primary reason movements stall. Fatigue is misread as closure. When people stop pushing, Systems do not stop operating. What injustices persist simply because people are tired? 9. Success stories are used to invalidate ongoing inequality. The exception narrative is well documented, highlighting outliers to deny patterns. Oh, look at Joe over there. Look at Bill. Look at Dominique over there. He got great. Look at ISO Speed. Look at Kai Sanat. They doing good. Look at 50 Cent. Look at Jay Z. You know, you guys are winning. You know, you guys, what the hell? You niggas shut up. It's you. Every New Year, success is weaponized against solidarity. Who benefits when exceptions are treated as proof? 10. Institutions celebrate diversity without sharing power. Organizational psychology shows that diversity initiatives often fail without authority redistribution. Representation without influence becomes performance. Who is present but not powerful in your spaces? 11. History is remembered without its present consequences. Collective memory studies show societies prefer historical acknowledgement over structural repair. Oh, we'll acknowledge this happened. Okay, yeah, we'll acknowledge. Yeah, these niggas was slaves. Yeah, yeah, we get it. We kind of benefiting. Yeah, we made some billions. We made some money off you guys. Yeah, you didn't get really much. You didn't get nothing. Yeah, we got it. We got that. You got a little bit. You get that. The past is mourned while its effects remain active. What apologies replace action? 12. Racism is framed as a moral flaw, not a systemic issue. This framing reduces racism to bad people. You niggas are just, you guys, you know. Sometimes it kills me when I'm watching the news and I'm seeing like all these crimes, and not that it's a whole lot. Like, oh, every news story I'm watching is black people doing fucking fucked up things. But when I do see it in the media, I'm just like, damn, man. You know, like, especially when you're that black dude that live in the areas, all fucking white people, right? Hispanic people, you guys ain't no better. You guys hate niggas too, right? And I'm just like, damn, man, why is, you know, you would think by now, like as a black community, these younger black folks, as it's not all of you guys, God bless you guys. You guys are doing your best. Would just wake up. Like, and it's not about fucking dancing for the white man and oh, I gotta be like this. Okay. It's just damn, do it for your people, man. Like shit. You know, do it for the integrity, for the history of folks who sacrificed and gave their life for us. If anything, it's not about showing out for fucking white people or Hispanic people or Asian people. Do it for your fucking self. Do the right thing for yourself. You know, I'm looking at the news sometime and I'm just like, damn, man. Like, and it's not even to impress anybody. It's just, I wish sometimes we, not all, but those individuals just would do better, man. You know, in our community, it gets really frustrating. And you got people who live and die by the news. Media has become a god to this generation of all ages. They live and die by Fox News, Channel 4 News, right? What they put in the media. Media is becoming like the new religion for a lot of people. This disconnection in person is so strong where it's just like media is where I get all my answers, right? This is it. This is the reality. And that can be fabricated and constructed. That's going off of a fucking script. Each year, villains are condemned while systems persist. Who escapes accountability? Accountability when blame stays personal. Silence is interpreted as neutrality. Research confirms that silence in the face of injustice functions as endorsement. Every new year, quiet becomes consent. Where has your silence been interpreted as agreement? 14. Economic inequality is separated from race. Data shows consistently racialized wealth gaps, yet narratives isolate class from race. This separation protects hierarchy from exposure. What connections are you discouraging from making? Spiritual language is used without transformation. Theology and psychology both warn against belief without embodiment. Faith becomes abstraction instead of disruption. What truths do you profess but do not practice? 16, conflict avoidance is mistaken for peace. Peace psychology distinguishes between peacekeeping and peacemaking. Avoiding tension preserves injustice. What harmony exists only because truth is suppressed. 17, systems reward adaptation, not resistance. Behavioral studies show institutions favor those who conform, not those who challenge. Each year, survival replaces. And I think it's easy for America to capitalize off of immigration and for them to kind of funnel right into the hierarchical system of racism where, yeah, you guys are up here with us. You look down on them niggas, even though you're really down too, but we gonna make you think you with us, because they're coming from a lot of these countries where a lot of their governments are oppressive, where they have to conform, right? Government is an issue globally. It's not just the fucking U.S. We got it good, and it's as good as we can. Okay, we do, right? And when you're coming from an oppressive third world underserved population where you work your ass off and you barely come out of it with nothing, America is like a fucking come up, and they're already coming from a hierarchical fallen world. Hey, come on in to where, we make it feel a little bit better for you guys over here in the USA where shit's still fucked up, but you can get a nice car. You can get a nice house. And, you can make a little money on the side. All this shit is how the devil got this shit set up. I'm telling you, all of it is interconnected. Hope is marked without sacrifice. Hope research shows that false optimism delays necessary loss. Change without cost is illusion. What are you hoping for without giving up anything? 19, confusion is normalized. Psychological warfare research. Jeez, they got a psychological warfare research group. Identifies confusion as a control tactic. It paralyzes action. When nothing feels clear, nothing changes. What benefits from your uncertainty? Last but not least, the calendar is treated as your redeemer. Time is mistaken for transformation, but nothing becomes new without confrontation. What would actually have to die for something new to live? Happy New Year's! Happy New Year's! New Year! Ah, ah, ah. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. And all I can do is plant seeds. Just look at me like a farmer. Pay me no mind. This will reach who it needs to reach. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in and supporting this channel. I'm really thankful. I'm really grateful. I'm going to continue into finishing up chapter 2 and chapter 3 of Genesis, going into chapter 4 during our Bible study series, where we're going to look at the human original identity and the purpose. You guys are great just for being who you are. In the Bible in Genesis, it says you were very good. Hadn't even lifted up a pitchfork to do any work. And God said you were very good. That's in the Bible. And I believe that about you. You guys have a blessed day.